I unmuted you, Mike. I unmuted you, John. I'm getting a bit of an echo. I'm not sure where that would have to be. I'm not sure. But what's up, you heathens and demons, you sinners and saints, beautiful blasphemous bastards? Welcome back to the Raging Atheist. John, you wanted to introduce our guest tonight, so I'm gonna.
Well, yes,
we're getting an echo, Scott.
Yeah, hey Scott, you got something going on there, man.
All right, hold on, man. Yeah, I know I got some feedback. Let me fix it. All right.
Yes, audio, visual, electronic genius that you are. Yes, and we are joined tonight by Skyout, and Skyout just got done telling us that he's never lost. Anybody here that has seen him debate knows that he kicked Sokka's ass and Dragnot's ass and everybody else. And that's my joke for the day. Skyout must have been getting prepared for this during the opening there, because it sounded like he did a big old freaking line, man. Like, did you snort some coke off of somebody's tits a minute ago?
Of course not. Of course not, man. I know you're into that kind of stuff, but I'm not into that kind of stuff.
No, it's probably been
20. Good looking out, Rage. Good looking out, John. You know, I'm just here, do my thing.
Pretty much 20 years since I did any coke, but I wasn't sure what that was. Not to disparage you or anything, but it sounded really like you did a big line of coke. But we enjoy having Skyout on because he is so knowledgeable, and I should probably actually let me do this in honor of you, Skyout. This is what I should probably have if my computer will work here. There we go. Slow as shit, this thing's running. I should have cleared my cache before.
Yeah, nice internet connection you got there, bro.
Yeah, so I'm gonna change to my dunce avatar just in honor of you, Skyout, because you are much more intelligent than I am. So, Rage, over to you, buddy.
Well, yeah, you got a little bit choppy there, but I still understood you, John. I'm looking forward to this. Skyout, he told us he was going to prove God tonight, so I'm gonna hand it over to Skyout. What's up, man?
I appreciate that.
Tell us why you're here.
You're looking out, dog. I appreciate that, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm just chilling here at my house in my crib and just kind of hanging out, watching TV and everything. So I appreciate coming out. And so basically, I wanted to come out and say that, like I said before, I don't mean this like backstage. I was going to say, I'm going to talk about the gospel. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, like, I don't mean this in a condescending way to y'all, but I have been praying for both of you, and I hope that doesn't offend you as an atheist or anything like that. You know, I value human beings because they're made in the image of God. So you know what I'm saying. So it's like, I know what it's like being an unbeliever. I know what it is like to be a hater of God. So I know what it's like to be redeemed by the person of Jesus Christ. So he is my Lord and my Savior. So I'm going to be with him after I
Get out. I just want to say, praying for us. That doesn't bother me at all. Coincidentally, I've been saying tongue twisters for you.
Hold on, I have to turn up my volume. Say it again.
No, I said I'm not offended at all that you pray for me, because I've been saying tongue twisters for you for a while now.
All right, well, cool, man. But, I didn't really catch that, but like I said before, so I'm going to be with him after I die, right? So, and I truly want y'all to join us in heaven. I really mean that. So I've been praying for the both of y'all. I want y'all to be saved, and I mean that as a pastor that loves unbelievers to believe that the Bible is the revelation from God. So he is our supreme ruler, and he is sovereign over all creation. So we believe God has chosen us in Jesus Christ, who pre-existed with the Father before all eternity. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not going to go too much on this, 'cause I know you guys don't want to hear it and everything. So, but we believe that he became incarnate, died on the cross, so God became a man. So whoever believes in him will not perish but have eternal life. I know y'all heard this before, so I'm just going to get through this. We're going to get done. I got a few challenges I want y'all to go through, and then we'll just get through this. The Bible is God breathed for all who take up their cross, right? So that's what I believe. So, and we will find no salvation, no other person, no other creature, no other man, no other idol, or no music star or actor, but we have God, Jesus Christ. So we find salvation and life everlasting. But for those who mock the Lord, who are spiritually blind to his word, the Bible, you know what I'm saying, to prayer, to those that refuse to seek the Lord, you know what I mean? So, but they despise him, will be eternally separated from the Lord at judgment. I know you guys heard this before. And so Jesus Christ is the word of God who pre-existed. Now, what do I mean by Jesus? Like, he's the word of God who pre-existed with the Father before all eternity. So like Jesus is before all creation. So he's God, you know what I mean? So we can say that he's our creator.
Is there already a question?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get, too many points out, without first going point by point. But what's the basis of your belief that God pre-existed anything?
Oh, okay. We're gonna get into that. I can answer that question. Like I said, I'm gonna get to that momentarily. But like I said,
but wait a minute. You're talking about. I just want to know, what do you base your belief on that God pre-existed everything that exists?
We're gonna get into that. Trust me, we're gonna get to that. I'm just trying to.
I understand. We're gonna. I mean, how about getting to it now? I mean, I don't want you. I mean, here's the thing. I know you got your set little spiel, and that's fine and everything. Want you to give your spiel, but as we're going along, if there's something that you're going to claim that I need clarification. I mean, I'm not trying to be a dick to you or anything.
Yeah. So, and it's the fact that Jesus pre-existed everything, not particularly God, right?
Oh, Jesus, Jesus is God. So God is Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So Jesus would be, I guess you can say, the second person of God. So now let me answer John's thing here. So I would ask you, John, about what standard is that true? So what is true to you in your worldview? Like, can you?
No, I mean, but hold on, Scott. And here's the thing: if this is part of your spiel, delving into this, you don't have to give me any kind of real long answer. Just kind of briefly explain. I'm not even talking about truth or knowledge right now. I'm asking you, what do you base your belief on that God pre-existed everything that exists?
Oh, very simply, because it logically follows that during science, you can't start with knowledge, truth, or logic unless you start with God, which is the foundation of all source of all knowledge, truth, and logic.
Scott, I'm so sorry, and sorry, Ronnie, I didn't mean to jump on you.
You got to let me finish though, because you cut me off.
I don't think you heard my question. I'm trying.
You see, you have no foundation to the basis of your question. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Hold on.
You don't have a standard.
You started talking about knowledge and everything, and I'm not talking about knowledge. I'm not talking about fact or knowledge or truth. A belief is very much different. You can have an untrue belief. You can have, so I'm asking you, what do you base your belief on that God pre-existed everything? I mean, it's a simple question.
I do think he answered it. Presupposition.
Yeah. See, again, yeah. Oh, I didn't say it like that. I didn't say presupposition. The thing is, I don't base it on anything. These are called non-inferential beliefs, like the existence of other minds, the external world, your apprehensions, your sensory apprehensions. So this is what I was going to talk about earlier, but you wanted to talk about it now, which is fine. I mean, we can talk about it now. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that when you take like if you deny God, right? Okay. So what is knowledge and justification for knowledge? And philosophers say what is knowledge needs to be justified with another piece of knowledge to another piece of another antecedent prior piece of knowledge. So basically, how do I know that it's the God of Jesus Christ and how he's the creator? Is the fact that that science and the Bible they are pretty much intact with each other and accurate describing the nature of the universe. So, and there's basic scientific principles like cosmology, astronomy, the laws of physics, the laws of nature, theory of relativity, thermodynamics, and gravity. The atheists say that nothing can, like there's nothing that can, there's no cause for those things that happen to the universe. So when you ask me what is, how do I know it's Jesus or how do I know it's the God of the Bible? Well, basically, it logically follows that there must be a mind before the universe. But let me see here. I wanted to also talk about. But what was your question again? Go ahead.
No,
I think
John might have stepped. You either muted or you stepped away, John.
All right. Let me just answer his question again, because he asked me how do I know. I'll say the thing is I don't appeal to evidence or proof for like the existence of other people's minds, right? Or we know that the world exists. You wouldn't need any evidence for or justification for other people's minds. So that's what I'm building my belief on, that God exists no different than other people's minds or the world or our immediate sensory apprehensions of like taste, sight, touch, smell, and sound, right?
You did say something in there. You said, based upon these scientific scenarios that you had that lead you to God, you said mind for the universe, as if this mind is actually the universe. And I would I would maintain that doesn't possibly fit any description of the Christian God.
Oh, actually, I think you're misunderstanding my argument. These you have to understand that they are. We're trying to understand. We're not trying to talk about the Christian God right now, right? We're just trying to get to a creator for you guys.
You made a statement that Jesus pre-exists everything, and then God, John took it to how do you know that God? And when he's asking you that question, God, we're talking about your God, which is the Christian God. If you want to talk about a mind for the fucking universe, that's not a Christian God, and that's not what you're supposed to be here to prove.
See, you can't start. See, as Christians, we believe that you believe in God, but you have to acknowledge the fact that you deny Him. So you can't start with God unless you recognize your denial of Him. So you can't start with knowledge.
What do you mean? I have to recognize that I deny God. I definitely recognize that if I don't believe in Him.
Oh, here's the problem.
Earlier, well, real quick. Earlier, you had said we despise Jesus. I don't despise Jesus. I don't even think the dude existed, let alone have enough knowledge of his existence to despise him.
Right. Well, here's the problem. When you appeal to your reason, how do you know your reason is valid? So on atheism, that's the problem. There's no absolute standard. So
why is it only a problem for atheists? Don't you?
Well, if you want to know how it's true, I'll tell you. Your very questions assumes that truth exists, therefore God exists. So you can't account.
Dude, hold on a second. I'm not trying to be a dick or anything, but I'm really tiring with the idea that I ask you a question and then you say anything but an answer to the question. You just go on your script, dude. I mean, you claim that atheists have the problem of having to rely on their senses, and why don't you have the same problem? You're a human being just like me and Doc, and how do you though your senses and your reasoning power is any more accurate than an atheist.
Oh, very simply because I don't believe that I came from evolution. So you guys, I believe that we're intelligently designed. So like, if you believe that you came from evolution, then you're an advanced primate. You're a mindless, unguided process by evolution. So everything you say is relative and subjective.
Aren't we? Wait a minute. Aren't we conversing right now? You're conversing right now with two atheists. So how are me and Knock mindless?
No. I'm saying that as far as where humans came from, if you're saying that we're all but chemicals and DNA and we're all predetermined and we're animals and there's no God, no meaning, no purpose, then we're just advanced primates.
But wait a minute. Why would you think that atheists have no meaning and purpose?
No. They do have meaning and purpose. I'm saying that they don't have an absolute standard for what meaning is. No different from a dog or a cow or anything like that. That is the atheist position. There's no God. So we came by Darwinian evolution by natural selection. So anything you say or question the belief in God or whether Jesus is the God of the Creator is relative to you. That's what I'm saying. You can't. Your starting point is invalid. You don't have a foundation for truth.
So because you infer a Christian God into the start of all of it, you have a foundation for truth.
Well, I have a justification for a foundation for truth. When I ask you who began the universe, you say, "Well, I don't know." Well, that's no justification. That's not a good argument. It's illogical. So you have to be consistent.
How is it illogical to say I don't know about something that you can't possibly know? You can't possibly know what was happening at the beginning of the universe.
Well, then it logically follows that what created the universe, such as there must be a mind. Otherwise, you're basically saying nothing created the universe, and that's illogical.
What do you base that on? It had to be a mind. I don't get that.
Because abstract objects don't create. The number 7 can't create the number 8. So something had to put it into motion, like the laws of physics, thermodynamics, the theory of general relativity. Quantum physics, they don't come from nothing.
Well, and that's good. And you bring up, relativity and quantum physics and shit. Okay, so do me a favor and just
wait. So here's the problem: when you go ahead and when you go in to start talking, the atheist foundation for truth is that your brain is in a vat. There's no source of knowledge and reason for.
Now you're talking about solipsism. No, I don't think my brain's in a vat. Okay.
Well, so that's what I'm saying. Everything you're saying
hold on. You interrupted me. You interrupted me, dude. Look here. Look, check it out.
How do you know you're not strapped down to a bed with electrodes to your brain telling me this all right now? Like, it's all subjective.
Skyout.
So where does your knowledge comes from? See,
okay.
How do you know that it's true?
Skyout.
Let him answer, Skyout.
Skyout. No, I'm going to ask you the question I started to ask, and then you interrupted me, okay? So, look, what I want to ask you is show me the scientific paper that explains the methodology used in, in experiments and testing that resulted in a finding that any natural phenomenon has God as a causation. Because, see,
you have to understand. Is it true?
I'm not done. Stop interrupting me. You don't like being interrupted. Stop interrupting me. Okay? Slow your roll. Okay? See, because here's the thing. The only thing you have is this long list of hypotheses. And when you claim that God, any God, is the causation for anything, you got to show your work, dude. You got to tell us where that's coming from. Show us a paper that says God caused anything. Show us, the experiments that were run, not by you necessarily, but by whoever. Because it's just you're just blowing hot air when you say that God is the causation for anything, unless you can show your work. I mean, if you were to claim that God is the causation of gullibility, well, then you might have something there.
Okay, well, let me just explain, because you're misunderstanding my argument, and you have no foundation of what you're saying. So your building block for asking me these questions are already invalid. Because when you ask me questions, it shows you're misunderstanding my argument. So I don't appeal to evidence or proof of the existence of other people's I'm going to show the example of how I view God. All right. So try to understand what I'm saying. Try to understand what my argument. My argument is that the evidence for the proof for the existence of God is the same as the existence of that I know that other minds exist. I know that the world exists, and I know that I have immediate sensory apprehensions of taste, sight, touch, smell. I don't question
So
the fact
you
that
need well you need to explain how you know that though, because the world, there's a world there. You can touch it, you can feel it, you can see it. There's other people. You have a mind. They are communicating with you. You have to assume that they have a mind. You see that, you hear that, you can observe that.
You're right. Exactly.
You cannot do those things with God. So how do you get to that to try to compare the two when there is actually no comparison there?
Well, I'm saying that these are beliefs, like what you just said, Rage. These are beliefs that which other beliefs are built upon and that are based. They're not a result of rational inference. They're not evidential. They're not inferential. They're simply just basic beliefs. So this is how we view God, which requires
no. Wait a minute.
No.
So Doc was right a few minutes ago. It's presuppositionalism.
Okay, just listen to what I'm saying.
Yeah. This is all a precept. He's presupposing God.
No. Just I'm giving you arguments. Like I'm saying, this is how we view God, which requires no justification. Just like in a sense of other people's minds or the world, you don't need a justification that the world exists. You just know that, right? So that's how I view God. So just like you know that you can see, you don't question the fact that you have eyes. That's how. Well, again,
but I listed for you the reasons why I believe that the world exists. I am standing on the world right now.
No, do you question the existence of the world? Do you question the existence of other people's minds? You would never do that.
No, again, because of personal observance. I observe other people utilizing their minds. I observe a world. You don't observe a God, so how can you compare the two?
No, I'm saying that, you said you observe minds, but I'm saying how did the mind originate? The existence of the mind, you don't question that. You don't, just like we don't question God. It's the same.
Right. We don't question the existence of minds because we interact with those minds. And we don't question the existence of the earth because we're on the earth right now and we can see it. We can see it under our feet. But what you're claiming all this stuff about God, and you're saying there's no difference in me believing in God and you believing in other minds and believing in the world exists and that you're not a brain in a vat. But that's just a claim on your part. You can't say me believing in God is just like the way you guys believe in other people in the world. That's not the way it works, dude.
Well, no, I'm saying, do you question the fact that other minds exist? This is a basic foundation belief. We know that other people exist and they have minds, and we don't question that. So we don't need to give an argument about their existence.
Well, wait a minute. Now, say if when you say, do we believe that other minds exist? Well, like people used to believe like the wind had a mind or lightning had a mind or the sun had a mind. No, we don't always just accept that minds exist. We have to observe those minds in action. That would be interacting with other human beings, knowing that we ourselves have a mind. Therefore, these people that we're interacting with, thus they have minds as well.
Exactly.
See, I don't get to interact with God to be able to determine if God has a mind or if God is real. There's no interaction there.
You're right. There is no interaction, just like there wouldn't be any interaction of the existence of other minds and in their existence. There's no interaction there. We know other minds exist. We don't need any arguments. That's what I'm saying. We don't need an argument to know that the existence of minds are real. I know you have a mind. I know I have a mind.
You would need an argument or at least evidence to say that the wind has a mind, would you not?
You would not need no evidence for that because we all know that.
So you would just accept that blindly. You just accept it blindly that of course the wind has a mind.
Well, there's no evidence to suggest that we don't need any evidence to know that there's wind. We know that wind exists, so why do we need to give an argument for that? So we know that
wind is a thing, but does wind have a mind?
Yeah.
No, the wind does not have a mind.
Well, but how do you know that?
I know that because we can understand science and we can understand that the wind actually comes from obviously the foundations of the world and what created it and started it. But how do I know that? But you
just said we have to assume that their minds exist.
Yeah, exactly.
Because human beings have a mind, Skyout. So why can't the wind?
Okay, why not the wind? But you can use that example all you want. But I'm saying that the existence of other minds, you don't question it, and the fact that you don't question your sensory apprehensions, like you can see, you don't question the existence of your eyes and touch and smell, right?
Skyout, sometimes the wind blows and it sounds like it's whistling, or sometimes the wind blows and it sounds like it's saying something. Like, so maybe the wind does have a mind.
That's actually good that you guys think it does have a mind, because that means God exists.
Oh, no, I definitely don't think the wind has a mind.
But with these questions here that Knox been asking, I've been, why don't just admit it, dude? You believe in God on faith. That's what you believe in God on, is faith. You're delving into all this other nonsense. Hold on. You're missing trying to compare empirically proven things to your belief in God, and it's just not true. I mean,
you're misunderstanding my argument. I'm saying, for beliefs to be held, there needs to be a self-evident axiom. Like, I'll give you an example. I think, therefore I am. You know that's true, right? So the universe exists, other minds exist. This is how I view God. That's simple as that. Like, I think, therefore I am. You don't question that. That's how I view God. You don't need an argument to know that you exist. If you do,
I think, therefore I am. Yeah. Is your basis for believing in God?
That's just a basic example I'm giving you. You're misunderstanding my argument.
So there's a universe. There's you. So therefore God. That's your that's the syllogism you're bringing. The universe exists. Therefore God.
Well, let me explain to you, Rage. I might believe that 2 + 2 = 4 without having any good evidence for 4 from other beliefs. I just think about it, this proposition. I see directly that it's true, that it's 4. I don't need any evidence for it or any other beliefs that it's 4. That's how I view God. So you don't need to question it. So the belief in other minds, and
so you don't need to question it, but like, if you don't have any physical evidence, you don't have any observance, you have no, practical rationality or reason to believe that this thing exists. You just 2 + 2 = 4. The universe, therefore God. I mean, it doesn't seem rational, very rational to me anyway, to just assume that a thing exists because you were told so. If I just assume that the Loch Ness monster existed because some people says that it does. Well, I would expect people to question my rationale.
I would too. I would definitely question. But a Loch Ness monster is not a precondition for intelligibility of intelligence. So God is a precondition for intelligibility of intelligence. And so this is
how do you know that?
How do I know that? Because you just asked me, how do I know that? How do you know you're asking me that question is even valid? So you have to have a foundation for truth.
How do I know asking you that question is even valid? Because you just made a claim that, and I asked you how you know that. I mean, you're making a claim without backing it up with any evidence.
And I'm saying, unless you start with God, you don't have a foundation or basis of your question. It's coming from a source that is basically it's built on sand. It has no structure. So you'd have to present a standard first and then say, this is my standard. My standard is the mind of God, the objective standard of the mind of God. That's how I know he exists. That's how I know that the belief in the fact
because you believe the mind of God is your objective standard, that's how you know God exists, because you accept God as your objective standard?
Yes.
Okay. So, but where's the linkage there? Like, okay, I understand you believe God is the objective standard, but how does that fact that you believe that prove that God exists?
No different, because you can build beliefs off other beliefs, and they're just like.
So you're a coherentist?
I never said that. No, I never said I was a coherentist. I never said that. Because I'm a foundationalist. So if you want to get into that, we can get into that later. But I don't want to get into the whole philosophical part of that. But
well, real quick, and then you can continue, Skyout. We are about halfway through this first part. I did fail to mention, if you have any questions for me or John, Skyout's challenging us and trying to prove God to us. Feel free to tag me. If you any questions for Skyout, feel free to tag Skyout. Skyout wants to have a Q&A, so if you have any questions for Skyout, please ask them. Me and John are both going to be trying to capture it. I should have mentioned that earlier.
Well, and I have to fucking admit something. I was doing some real fat boy shit for the last half hour, so I never even looked if there was any questions in there.
There hasn't been. I never really announced it.
Okay.
We don't do it. So
Because,
so the chat can know now.
Before the stream started, I was making up some macaroni and cheese with about half a fucking bag of broccoli florets and cuts, and now I'm mounting it down.
It sounds disgusting. All right, go ahead, Scott. And I kid.
There's another way. Let me try another angle here. It's very simple. I'll ask Rage a few questions if you don't mind, Rage.
Sure.
They're very simple questions. They're not too hard. When I ask you, like, when you say there's such a thing as good, aren't you assuming there's such a thing as evil?
Evil's a word that defines something. I mean, if you're looking at the definition of evil, I don't have it pulled up right now, but
No. I'm saying,
do I think that people do what I would consider to be very bad things, and would I label that under a definition of evil? Sure.
okay, so if evil exists, then good exists. Can we assume that?
I think that people are capable of good. Yes.
Awesome. Now, when you say there's also such a thing as evil, aren't you assuming there's such a thing as a moral law on the basis of which it differentiates between good and evil?
Not really. No, I mean, so I'm basing off of my perspective of what I see good to be, what I see evil to be. I think, probably somebody with your worldview would have a different perception of what good might be. So like I'm not saying you particularly, it wouldn't surprise me, but somebody of the Christian equation might consider rejecting gay people to be a good thing. I would consider that to be a bad thing. So good and bad are literally usually comes down to a matter of perspective.
Well, here's my argument for the existence of God. Who gave us that capacity to differentiate between good and evil? That's the moral law. We say God is the moral law giver, but that's who you're trying to disprove.
Well, I mean, humanity, as we have went through generation after generation, we have learned from the generations before us, right? So we evolved empathy as we went. We evolved, it's very easy. Like, all right, you don't want to be punched, right? So you don't go around punching people. It's pretty simple. It's that old, it's when you're a child, you might touch that stove the first time, but you're not going to touch it the second time. It's a learning process, Skyout. Human beings have learned. It's what made us a successful species, is our ability to remember and learn from past generations.
Okay, I like that, from past generations and everything. But here's the problem: if there's no moral law, and if there's no moral lawgiver, then there's no moral law, like you said. Now, if there's no moral law, that means there's no good. If there's no good, there's no evil. What is your question? So things become relative and deterministic. There is no.
Well, I understand that you want to be there, but again, I clearly stated that I am a human being with a perspective. When you say good is a definition, and it defines a thing. It's an adjective. It's describing something, and that would be, from my perspective, a good thing. So, like, if I see somebody stop on the street and help an old lady across the street, I can say, hey, that's a pretty good thing to do, right?
Yeah, well, I'm saying, who gave you that? Who gave you that differentiation between good and evil to distinguish?
I would have to say, my parents raising me and a product of society. I mean, it certainly wasn't God. I don't believe in a God, and yet I can still stop and see somebody helping that old lady across the road and understand that that's a good thing.
What I'm saying is that who gave us not specifically to you, but who gave us this moral law to human beings? Like,
no such thing as a moral law.
Yeah, I mean, so what moral laws do you speak of? Where do you find these moral laws, and how, so we can all follow them?
Yeah, because they're not in the Bible. Hey, you talk God as the basis of morality. Is drowning babies a good thing, Skyout?
See, when you ask questions like that, it shows that you're assuming and you're interpreting and misusing the text. So
okay, wait a minute. Okay, so you're saying that in the Bible there is no story about Jesus drowning everybody but 8 people in the world?
I have never heard of that one.
Huh?
What?
Have you read the Bible?
Jesus, you said Jesus drowning?
No, I said God.
God drowning.
Oh God, I thought you said Jesus drowning. Okay, I was
Well,
like, what?
Well, I mean, according to you, that would have been Jesus because
Yeah.
God is Jesus,
Yeah, right.
and all of that.
Well, we got Father too. He's also God, so you can't.
Well, so now they're separate because earlier when I tried to clarify that about being at the beginning of the universe, and I'm like, well, how could Jesus be at the beginning of the universe? Dude was born 2,000 years ago.
That's what y'all was talking about. Oh, okay, that's a theological problem because in theology and in Christianity, we believe that Jesus.
Well, no, you made that claim. You made that claim that Jesus was there at the beginning of the universe, and now you're trying to say, that wasn't Jesus that drowned everybody.
Oh, I see what you mean because I thought, okay, I see what you mean because there's a slight confusion there because as Christians we believe that Jesus is the Word that pre-existed with the Father and the Holy Spirit as the one divine being of God.
So he's not a dude. He's the Word.
Okay, it's hard to explain. Right?
Is that what they mean? Like when urban people are talking and somebody says something they agree with and they said word.
Like word, yeah. That means,
Jesus. So
word is blonde.
Hold on. I still didn't get an answer to my question.
I don't remember.
Is drowning babies moral?
Okay, can we? If you want me to answer the question, I would say is drowning.
Holy
babies...
fuck, dude! Like when I ask a question, yes, I want you to answer it. Like, is drowning babies moral?
No.
Okay, then why is your God allowed to do it?
Because these people were sacrificing their children to demons and false gods, and
okay, so wait a minute. So he had a hard-on about some adults that had minds that were doing shit that he didn't like, so he drowned babies.
I don't know.
Honestly, what evidence do you have that? Like, I mean, we have to assume that you're talking about every human on the planet. Right. Sacrificing humans, worshiping devils. What evidence do we have that every human on the planet in those times? I'll grant that some of them probably were, but every human was punished. So, what evidence do we have that every single human on this planet deserved God's wrath?
Oh, the fact that we're wicked and sinful and we rebel against God.
We're still that, right?
Yeah, that's my whole point.
So did it work?
What did work?
Did killing everybody and starting over? Did it work?
It has nothing to do with whether or not it worked or not. You're missing.
Well, I mean, it does. Like, if God's a good God and He's, His plan is perfect and He's all powerful and we should definitely base, make it the arbiter of our morality and the base for all of our truth. Why didn't it work?
What makes you think that it has anything to do about His plan? You'd have to explain.
What do you mean by that? I don't get it. Like, what it makes it? What he drowned a bunch of people, but what makes you think that's part of his plan? Because he did it. Like, what the fuck?
No, I'm saying that when you ask me that question, it shows you the misunderstanding and the inaccuracy.
Well, well, let me explain the story to you. So God was going to kill everybody, and then I guess he happened to notice Noah, and he was like, well, we'll just do a mulligan and we'll redo it. But you're sitting here saying that we still have all of these terrible things. We still do all of these terrible things. It didn't work. And you're providing no evidence outside of this story or outside of your misguided notions of what every single human being on the planet was doing in this instance to deserve the horrific death of drowning.
Okay, you've kind of. You're kind of going off into a tangent without any foundation.
Well, I mean, it's fine. We can move on beyond the flood.
Okay. Look, and that's fine too. Yeah, we can. But when you say we're moving off on a tangent, this all started when you claimed that God is the basis of morality, or I can't remember how you worded it. He's the objective standard of good, or whatever it was you said. And if that's true, then drowning babies must be moral in your mind.
Well, here's the thing. Here, you don't understand the argument. When you make a moral claim, you don't have an absolute standard for what morality is as an atheist. Everything is subjective. And
that has nothing to do with what I was just saying. It has zero to do with I'm not talking about.
What is true? What is true?
I'm not talking about atheists right now. Okay, the fact of the matter is, like Knox said, you're claiming, that everybody on the planet was sacrificing, like.
Can you be wrong about that?
But hold on. But here's the thing. He drowned everybody. He drowned pregnant women. He drowned toddlers that didn't even know the difference between good and evil. So in your mind, if God is the objective standard, then drowning babies and the unborn is moral.
You're misunderstanding the argument. Okay. when you're misunderstanding the argument. When you say, "Oh, this is moral," let me answer the question, because these people were sacrificing their children to demons, to Moloch,
babies and babies and fetuses were sacrificing people. What?
No. What are you talking about? Those people were like evil, and they were practicing bestiality and practicing like incest.
But were the babies and the infants and the toddlers and the unborn and pregnant?
Why would you?
All that were they practicing bestiality? And
why would you ask that kind of question? Obviously,
because
a baby
he fucking drowned them too. He didn't just drown the motherfuckers.
No, you're saying that a baby was running around with an axe killing people. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
You're saying that. We're saying it doesn't make any sense because you're saying that God drowned everybody. And God is the arbiter of morality, right? And God drowned everybody because everybody was evil. You just said that everybody was evil. John is pointing out. Well, you're stating that those babies are indeed running around with axes, fucking sheep. And that's just not the case. They're babies.
Yeah, they're not doing it. I'm saying they're those parents were sacrificing their babies to gods like Moloch.
So John's question would be then why would this moral arbiter of truth then come up with a punishment that
he's cleansing them.
So we murder babies based upon the sins of their parents.
It's not murder. That those people are.
It's not murder. Like did they have a life? Did they have a life?
No, not because of God, but because of those cultists. They were sacrificing babies.
Well, for what? Wait a minute. Didn't God create all life? So like, wasn't like what happened for the plan? That was all God's plan too, right? Like God created mankind, and then mankind just went completely fucking crazy, I guess. And God lost control. God lost control. Man went crazy, right? So now you're saying that. The babies, they had to be killed because, the parents were fucking goats.
Right. And just check it out. I don't know if you caught that beautiful moment just a moment ago. I'm sure people, you did, but basically Skyout said, when you asked, well, why did he kill the babies too? Well, because their parents were sacrificing babies. God was so against the sacrificing of babies that he killed the babies.
Okay, let me respond to that, because you're presupposing, you're acting inconsistently with your own worldview. It's a contradiction in terms of what you're saying. You have to be logically coherent, and you have to be logically consistent. So you're just being inconsistent and illogical at this point. So you're presupposing what you're saying is true without any good evidence. You're arguing from a false definition.
Oh, I'm doing an internal critique of your Bible. Your Bible says God.
You don't even know what is an internal critique. Could you explain that to me?
I'm reading your Bible. I'm going.
No. What is the definition of internal critique? If you don't know the definition of internal critique, you can't say I'm doing an internal critique on you. What is an internal critique?
It's trying to understand your frame of mind.
I was asking John.
Well,
you see my point? You have no basis to say you're doing an internal critique when you don't know the definition or an objective standard of what an internal critique is.
Do you believe the Bible is true?
Of course I do.
Well, then, John, by looking at this and trying to understand where you're coming from and talking about this flood and God being we've been talking about the flood, but God being the moral arbiter of truth, by talking about the flood, that he's trying to understand your frame of mind. You say you believe the Bible.
Yeah. And I'm saying, okay, I'm accepting the Bible is true, and you've been talking about morality. So if the Bible's true and the flood happened.
Okay.
And did I just hear him say a minute ago, Knock, oh, we're going to talk about the flood now?
Yeah, I mean, we've been kind of talking about the flood.
I
would like to kind of get past the flood. I would like to get past the flood, but I mean, you're not going to get an answer to this. And I do want you to be able to get into more of your spiel, because, we've been challenging you, Skyout, and your ultimate goal here, and you got however long you want to take, but 17 minutes for the first hour to be done, is to, prove to us that your God exists. You're trying to come at it somewhat from this, I would say, deistic perspective. So sure. I mean, you're trying to pretend like you're not. But that's kind of what you're doing. But we'll get away from the flood. I want you to kind of give us more of what you got for us, man.
I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate coming out here, on your show and everything. And letting you guys give me a chance to let me say what I gotta say. So, like I said before, you guys are presupposing. You guys are acting inconsistently with y'all's worldview. That those that deny God, they did not. If you deny God, hey, you want to be an atheist? That's fine. I don't. Hey, I got no hate against y'all. I mean, I present my case, and then that's fine with me. But again,
would you like to explain what our presupposition is?
No problem. Okay. As an atheist, human beings are nothing but advanced primates. Mindless,
I think I believe that.
You're a mindless, unguided process by Darwinian evolution by natural selection. And this is all Richard Dawkins. This is all atheism to an atheist. He says this. I'm not saying this is what the atheist community. You got Sam Harris, Richard Dawkins, Christopher Hitchens.
Well, I mean, you are putting it in those words, but no, I believe that we human beings are hairless monkeys, very advanced monkeys. Sure, I don't run away from that.
To an atheist.
Now, do I think that we're mindless? No, I think that we have minds. I think do I think we have a perception of what's right and wrong? Sure, we do. I think I think a lot of human beings' perception of right and wrong is absolutely fucked. A lot of them were in D.C. on January 6th, but that's a different story.
Well, I didn't mean it mindless that way, Rage. I meant like mindless in the sense of how it got started. But to an atheist, human life is subjective and relative and meaningless, just like a cow saying moo. So an atheist's life is just like another animal, an advanced primate that's predetermined by their DNA, like a dog barking. That's the atheist view. There's no God.
Well, you say like don't we observe like life?
Like a dog,
like life becoming life through a mindless process. Like, do you think that there's some kind of mindful process? When a dude ejaculates and that sperm is going to the egg. Is there a mind there guiding the right sperm to the egg? Or I mean, I don't get what you're saying. I think that we see life come out of mindlessness all the fucking time.
Yeah, dude.
Well, sure, yeah.
On what he just said, Scott, I wish that sperm that was right on the tail of that sperm that made you. I wish that one on second place had just nudged past you, man.
I think you might be a chromosome short. We don't know yet. Like I said before, that's fine. You guys want to deny God? That's fine. But do you the fact that you don't need an argument or justification, the fact that you just deny God? That's how I view God, that He exists. The same way.
No, what do you mean by that? The fact that we just deny God? I think most of us have pretty good reasoning behind our denials of a God existence. Again, like when earlier when you tried to sell us on the bullshit. Well, humans have minds, therefore God. And I'm like, no, I can touch a human being. I can't do that with God. No, I don't get what you seem to have. This great knowledge of the atheistic mind frame, or what atheists are thinking, and I don't understand. Does Jesus give you that ability?
I studied it. I've watched the atheism tapes, man. If you never heard of the atheism tapes, go watch the atheism tapes. You want to hear some real atheistic stuff, like Richard Dawkins, Sam Harris, Daniel Dennett, Christopher Hitchens.
I've read Dawkins' book. The God Delusion. Yeah. I've heard plenty of his lectures. I've heard plenty of Sam Harris. You understand that those people are famous intellectuals that happen to be atheists, and that they in no way represent quote unquote atheism. Right?
Atheism. I've heard it. Yeah, and you know what? That might be true.
Did you even hear what Knock just said? Because you were non-responsive to it. He said Sam Harris, and the other people you mentioned, they don't represent atheism. They're human beings.
Yeah, I know, but you can't, because you don't have a foundation or a standard for atheism. If there was a standard for atheism, people would hold it. But they hold the top positions of the world right now of atheism, and they influence a lot of people. That's all.
There's atheist positions. Damn, I need a job, yo.
Yeah, I mean,
Richard Dawkins is a successful scientist in his field. Sam Harris, I believe. I mean, he's an intellectual, right? He's known for being like a genius. I don't get what you're saying. Yes, these people are great thinkers in their fields, and they happen to be atheists. William Lane Craig, I would say, you would say, I'm not going to say it, you would probably say is a great thinker in his field, right? But he's a fucking Christian. You know, like, I don't really get what you're saying. They represent their brand of atheism. They represent themselves as human beings, but they no way in hell represent me.
Okay, absolutely not. You can use that example all you want, which is fine, because in my view, it's subjective anyways, so it doesn't matter, because it wouldn't be in an absolute sense of your words.
I mean, you seem to kind of be going against like the Christian grain of trying to accuse atheism of being a religion. You seem to be speaking against that right now.
See, I mean, you can say that I'm doing that, but
I mean, you literally are, though.
At the same time, you know, that's just how it is. That's just how it is.
Well, yeah, atheism isn't a religion. It isn't, right?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's just how it is. If you can say it's not, but there's other people that say it is. That's just the way it is. Some atheists say, hey, I'm in a religion. There's no God. Some people say, hey, I'm not in a religion.
Some atheists don't. I've never heard an atheist say that they're in a religion.
No, they philosophically know that, like, not you, but like other ones say that, hey, you know, I'm not in a per se, quote unquote, worldview in a religion, but just like Richard Dawkins.
Who are these people?
Every follower of Matt Dillahunty.
No, I mean, I've never heard Matt Dillahunty say that.
I mean, you got to go through the atheism taste, man. Let me just get back to, because we finna wrap this up.
Oh yeah. I kind of cornered you there. Go ahead.
No, yeah, and but let's say, and then I don't mean to talk crap about John or you, Rage. You know, I'm just here to present. You know, do my thing. So, like, again, how do you start with God? You have to acknowledge the fact that you guys deny him, because you can't start with God unless you recognize that y'all's denial of him. You can't start with knowledge, truth, or logic unless you start with God, which is the foundation of all source of knowledge, truth, and logic. Otherwise, you cannot justify where your knowledge claims come from. You guys have no basis. Just like when John asked me about internal critique, I asked him a definition. He couldn't answer it because he had no basis.
I couldn't answer it. What the fuck are you talking about?
You had no basis to say that. That's what I'm saying. Hey, you don't need to get mad. I'm just saying hey.
No, but I'm just saying you just said something that's totally false.
What I'm saying is there's no shame.
I told you that I'm accepting your Bible as the truth, and from that I am like trying to find out about you and where your beliefs are coming from. I'm accepting that the flood happened. That's you know.
There's no shame of saying I don't know. Let me explain.
Personally, Skyout, and I think I could speak for John. We don't think that the flood actually happened. Geology pretty much disproved a global flood anyway. Even a local flood in that area definitely didn't happen within the framework of the Bible.
Well, see, when you say things like that, Rage, do you actually believe that to be true?
Yeah, I've literally studied it for debates and shit. So I've seen and I've read the papers on it and the evidence behind it. Yeah. Right. I mean, if you're talking about a local area flood in that area, we're talking 20,000 years ago, and that's completely out of the scope of the Bible.
Now, do you know all things about the local flood or the global flood? Do you know everything about that subject?
No, of course not.
Then you can't logically say what happened and what didn't happen since you don't know all.
Well, I wasn't there. My statement was geology disproved any notion that a global flood shaped the topography of the Earth back in 1840s. I mean, it was a while back. That happened.
Do you know everything about geology?
No, but the geologists do.
So if you don't, that means you could be wrong about it.
Well, I mean, that's based off of 1840s geology, and it hasn't really changed. Just because you want it to be different doesn't mean it is.
So, all right. So basically, that's cool. I know. That's good. That's all good. Is there any? If we want to wrap up Q&A, that's cool. I can, if you guys have any more questions, but let me just wrap it up. That's cool with you guys.
Oh yeah. And if anybody does have questions, I missed a good little point John or Jay Pasic said in the side chat that I should have went to a hypothetical situation with you. But no, I mean I've had fun with this. I don't think that you've that you've really proven that your God exists. So yeah, maybe you can, as you wrap it up here, give us that fucking knockout punch.
So I proved that God existed, and the rage actually conceded. But and y'all heard it. But if
Huh?
the rage knows that other people's minds exist, then he has to know that God exists, because we don't question the fact that there's a world. We don't need an argument to know that the world exists. We just know that. That's how we view God. That's how I view God. I don't need to know that the planets exist. I know that. I don't need evidence. I don't need an argument. I don't need an argument for the existence of God. I just know that other minds exist. We don't need an argument to know that other minds exist. So I don't need. That's just how it is. We know it's a basic foundational belief. We don't need to give an argument for their existence, just like the existence of our sensory apprehensions of sight, taste, touch, smell, and sound. We don't need an argument that we know that we can smell.
Wait,
We need
wait, real quick. So you're saying that because we accept that our senses of taste and smell and touch, we accept those without question, that you're warranted to accept that God exists without question.
Well, do you question?
I can smell something, okay? I can touch something.
Yeah.
I can, but you're saying that the basis of accepting that our sensory perceptions are correct is the same basis by which you believe in God.
Yes.
Okay.
Because you don't need an argument to know that you can see. You don't.
So you're promoting mindless devotion to an imaginary character, basically. You need absolutely you need absolutely nothing. Like I know smell, right, because I smell, and I have a reason to believe smell exists. I have a reason to believe other people have minds, and I'm not the only one. I know a lot of Christians think that I don't have a mind, but that's a different story.
I'll make it easy for you, Ray.
But therefore, you just got to believe, and fundamentally, you got to believe in the story your parents told you as a kid. Now, I know you think that story and this mind of the universe is your Christian God, but I'm sure that you fully understand, that Islamic kid whose parents were telling him that it was that God their whole lives.
I know a few Muslims that converted to Christianity, so that argument doesn't really hold up. I'm sorry.
Plenty of Christians have converted to Islam. Like, what are you even saying?
So what I'm saying is let's just narrow things down. We're trying to prove that God exists, not the theological question of who God is, but let me give you a simple one. It's a self-evident axiom. I think, therefore I am. You don't question that. You don't need an argument to know that you're alive.
Yeah, I know that I'm alive. The question is God alive?
That's how I view God. That's just how I view God. I think
so mindless devotion to the character your parents taught you.
You can call it mindless devotion, but then you'd have to call it mindless devotion to other people's minds and their existence and the fact that you can see.
Well, no. Again, we have reason to believe in those things.
You don't need a reason because it's just true. It's a self-evident axiom.
Well, yeah, but with God, see, God is different. You're doing the same thing Matt Powell did in our second conversation when he pointed at the statue behind us. I'm getting that echo again. When he's pointed at the statue behind us, and he said, we know somebody made this statue, therefore we must know that God made the universe. And I'm like, well, no, we can look up the creator of the statue and find where he lives, find his phone number, probably order some work for him to do for us. We could go and talk to this person, right? You cannot do that with God. You cannot compare this supernatural imaginary figure that your parents told you about when you were a child to stuff that actually happens in reality. It doesn't compare.
I mean, you could say that, but if you don't have an
it just doesn't. I mean, what you're saying is exactly that. Just believe it because somebody told you.
No, I'm happy as long as you know that the world exists, other minds exist, and you can smell, you can taste, you can touch. As long as you can understand that fact, then you have to know God exists because you don't question those things.
Can you taste God?
No, you're misunderstanding. I'm saying the fact that it exists.
I'm not misunderstanding. I'm making fun of you.
It exists without question. It exists without question. That's my point.
So, all right. So for anybody that's just joining us, I want to give you the TLDR on Skyout's argument tonight. The sum total of everything he said tonight boils down to things exist, stuff happens, therefore God. That's his whole argument.
I think you knocked it out of the park this time, Skyout. You did a hell of a job, man.
Appreciate
I
it.
enjoyed every moment of it.
Much love, brother.
You're 3,002 now, because before the stream you was like I'm 3,001 and 0, and now you're 3,002 and 0, and I want to congratulate you. You know that
Hey,
happened.
I'm not gonna be like. So I know you guys have some other Christians that probably don't like y'all or whatever, but I'm not here for that. I'm not here for no personal attacks. I'm not here for any of that stuff.
That's one of the things. I mean, we've had a pretty decent back and forth through the years.
Right. Exactly. I mean, I know you. Yeah.
The testimony to how good a job Skyout did tonight is that I'm on my knees right now, friend.
That's great.
But yeah, I mean, if anybody in the chat does have a question for Skyout, I should have really promoted it.
We can do it again. Hey, we can do it again. Couple weeks, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. And you know, like, because when I told John about it, and I told John that you specifically requested both of us. So I mean, you're like the first Christian that I could that and I'll give you props that like just come into a room with two against one. I do it all the time. I go into a den of vipers all the goddamn time, but you just don't see it too much on the Christian side. You requested to have both of us here, so
yeah, Skyout requested a three-way.
Oh, I did not do that. Not the way he's using it. I don't know why you're using it that way. I did not say it like that.
You mentioned a moment ago, speaking of personal attacks, like you kind of remind me of Darth Dawkins if Darth Dawkins shot up heroin and hit himself with a hammer periodically.
Why do people keep saying that about me? Like they compare me to Darth Dawkins. I don't get it. I'm
not comparing you to Darth Dawkins. I'm saying you're like Darth Dawkins if Darth Dawkins shot up heroin every day and hit himself in the head with a hammer periodically.
That's a misunderstanding. That's a false syllogism right there.
That wasn't even.
Oh, John, I love you so much. Leo Phileas does have a question for you, Skyout.
All right, cool.
Do you understand the difference between experiential knowledge and propositional knowledge?
I'd have to have him explain that to unpack it. To be quite honest, I don't think I really do. There's no shame in my game saying, "Hey, explain," and that's what I tell people. I'm not going to act like I know everything. There's no shame in my game. I would have to talk to him about that.
That's pretty. So I mean, like, I'm not. I'm by no means a person that really. I'm starting to study philosophy, but I mean, I could kind of gather a meaning from that. Like, experiential knowledge would be knowledge that you learn as a human being, as opposed to propositional knowledge, knowledge that is, I don't know, given to you by somebody else.
All right, that's cool. That's cool.
And hopefully I'm not butchering that. And I'm sure Leo could definitely explain it better than I did. But I don't know. Like, I mean, you pretend to at least have some philosophical understanding, Skyout. You can't understand what Leo is saying?
I think I can clear it up because we've been talking about this all night, okay? Because Skyout is saying that I don't have to justify my belief that my senses work, okay? And Leo, what Leo's pointing out is, yeah, you don't have to justify that because you know your senses work. You smell shit with your nose, you can touch things with your hands and all that. But you're proposing that by the same means that we don't have to justify experiential knowledge because it happened, we saw it happen. You're saying, now you're giving us this proposition that you're claiming is knowledge and you're claiming is true, and saying that it's the same thing as this experiential knowledge, and it's not.
Oh, okay.
It's not.
But I just laid out a basic foundational belief that we all know that other minds and the universe and the world exist, and that we don't need an argument or justification for it. That's how I view God. And that's all I got to say about that.
That's where the hitch in your giddy up is, okay? And that's what Leo's calling out, because you're saying all this shit that's experiential, and then at the end you're tacking on your belief in God and saying it's the same thing, it's the same type.
Well, we don't need to go to philosophical or theological questions about who and what God is. I'm just saying that we got.
How did I do that? I'm trying to make you understand what Leo was talking about, dude. Like you're you're listing a bunch of things that are experiential knowledge that human beings have, and then at the very end of that, you're saying, and that's why I believe in God, because of the same thing. Well,
I don't think it has anything to do with knowledge at this point. It has to do with the fact that we know, and we don't question certain things.
Wait a minute. It has nothing to do with knowledge, but we know.
No, it doesn't have to do with knowledge of what you're talking about.
You do know that the root word of knowledge is no, right?
So you're misunderstanding my argument. So
I don't think I misunderstood that. You said, I don't think it's about knowledge. It's that we know. Okay, so like
you misunderstand what I said. You misunderstand what I said.
No, I'm not. I just repeated pretty much verbatim what you said. Okay, it's not about knowledge. Not about knowledge.
You misunderstood what I said.
No. Well, no is the root word of knowledge. Like, so how is it not about knowledge, but we know?
I love these talks so much. So let me put it to you this way, Sky. All right, so I get that you don't need anything for a belief in God, right? Like, God damn it, hey. I exist, therefore this, God exists, and I'm never wrong, so I'm right.
No, I mean, hey,
I get that, but like, just say, like, so you told us before the stream that you pray for us and you really want to see us come to Jesus. So like, don't you think that you would at least try to offer me some reason why I as an atheist should accept that this God is real, outside of just because other human beings have minds, therefore I'm an idiot for not thinking this thing? Don't you think like it would be your job as a Christian really trying to bring me to the Lord to do better than that? I mean, because to me right now, you haven't proved shit. Like it was like a really bad deistic argument at first, like you're trying to like say the universe has a mind or something. But then when it came to the actual justification of your real God, it literally comes down to I believe because I believe, and you're stupid for not. That's pretty much what your argument came down to.
I proved two contentions. Number one, that we have a moral law. I wanted to prove to you that we have a moral law, which is a differentiation between what's good and evil, and we have a moral law.
Did you do that though?
Yeah,
I did. Just because you didn't understand it doesn't mean I didn't do it. So like,
oh right, yeah, we didn't understand it the whole time.
Other people know what a moral lawgiver is.
We're dumb mindless.
All right, so even if there is this moral law as you speak it, how do you know humans didn't invent it?
Because if humans invented it, then there would be no ultimate standard, no absolute standard of what good.
How do you know that
would be?
So I mean, how do you know that? You're presupposing that God invented these moral laws. That's why it's important to prove them, right?
No, it's the differentiation. Where does that differentiation come from in animals and humans?
God, the guy that drowned a bunch of people and told people to kill gay people.
No,
came up with the moral laws. Yep, you're right.
That is that. Okay, again, when you say that, John, you're misunderstanding because I'm talking about evil now and the differentiation.
Yeah, when you talk about evil, you can't spell evil without God.
So you have to differentiate between our fallen nature as human beings, as we have a fallen nature. Lucifer fell, the fall of man. We're evil, we're wicked, and we're sinful. You have to acknowledge that.
Okay, you know what? I will acknowledge that when I'm on my knees praying tonight. Here, I just want to point something out that Leo brought up, and I actually didn't hear him use this phrase before, but Leo Phyllis, you're absolutely correct. Many, many times when I've been in the presence of Skyout, he claims that his God belief is properly basic. He claims it's properly basic, and that's what he's trying to do, and he has a lot of problems with that because it's
Go ahead.
I didn't hear him say it tonight, but yes, he has claimed that many before, that his belief in God is a properly basic belief. Just like I would say that my properly basic beliefs are that the universe is measurable and acts in a predictable manner, and that my senses, including my brain's ability to reason, can be accepted. Those are my two big properly basic beliefs, and then everything stems off of that. And what Skyout is saying, he's basically bottoming out at a line of reasoning and deciding where it ends. Not that he is coming to the bottom and coming to a properly basic belief that you have to accept, that you have to presuppose. He is just stopping at a point and saying, yeah, God's my properly basic belief. There's no other explanation but that. Like, and it's just it's sheer.
Hey, no, I mean I can explain that, and then basically, when you ask me something like that, I'm just going to say what is knowledge and what is the justification of knowledge. So philosophers say what is knowledge. It needs to be justified with another piece of knowledge to another antecedent or prior piece of knowledge. This is when we get to the trilemma. And
Once,
you guys know it,
once y'all get through this, we have another question for you.
All right. So that's what I'm saying. There's the circular, regressive, and axiomatic epistemological frameworks. If I make a knowledge claim, there needs to be a prior piece of knowledge in order for it to be justified, right? So, okay, if you keep going, it becomes infantism. It never ends. So then that prior piece of knowledge and that other prior piece of knowledge, it terminates from a false belief. This is the problem. So knowledge is going to be justified through another piece of knowledge, building block, right? We got building blocks, just like what John said, we build off. Again, certain knowledge claims can terminate through a false belief. And I believe that's what John's doing right now. Now, axiomatic beliefs are certain assumptions. So, like, again, this is a circularity problem because a proper basic belief, there's got to be some coherence, some cohesiveness. There's got to be
justification. Properly basic beliefs, axioms need to be justified?
They can be, but it's not required. See, they can be, but it's not required.
You just said they do.
Well, see, this is getting into philosophy because, again, there needs to be infallible justification and infallible belief, and this has to do with infallible justification, infallible belief.
But but how can it be? I don't want to get too philosophical. How can it be an infallible justification if it's?
So I don't want to get too philosophical though. I ain't trying to lose anyone in the audience about philosophy. But
it's not really. True, that's not really. That's not too deep into philosophy. I'm a philosophical idiot.
My eyes have kind of glazed over, probably.
Yeah, see, I didn't want to go. I know Rage don't like.
Well, no, I'm learning and shit. I'm definitely learning. I've been devoting a lot of time to learning philosophy. No, I don't claim to be ignorant by any means, but I just I lost track of the conversation there for a moment. I was making a joke, Skyout. I was making a joke.
All right.
So yeah, why don't we just wrap this up and Skyout? So like, don't go off for like 10, 15 minutes, but just take a couple of minutes.
Well, real quick, John. We did have another question. And,
okay.
Leo Filius proposes he would love to debate Skyout on the channel on the topic that does God exist. Leo feels that he could dive into this with you and better understand your epistemology from that. Would you be up to doing something like that with Leo?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I talked to Leo before. We were supposed to set something up before, so yeah, absolutely.
All right. So remember, Sammy Jenkins asks, "Is it possible for God to do an evil act?"
No.
So drowning babies is okay.
We covered that earlier.
He's cleansing them.
So he's not murdering them. He's cleansing them. So my question is, how do you know he's not cleansing them once again through abortion?
I would say that in certain instances that abortion is probably most likely wrong. But let's say you were raped or incest in this situation, he's cleansing them.
So only when it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
So like only when it's like rape and shit.
Yeah.
Hey, Korg Nightwolf.
Like, was it only rape and shit when he killed all the babies in the flood? Oh my God! Never mind. We're not going back down the flood thing.
Yeah, I'll bet you the young kids and the young toddlers that were drowning. As they choked on the water, they were like, "Man, I feel so cleansed." And fucked
up mind, John.
Korg Nightwolf has a question. He says, "Why are you letting this garbage on your show?"
See,
you want to field that rage?
Oh, I enjoy Skyout, man. We were kind of talking about this earlier. You know, if I if I don't talk to any Christians, how am I going to talk to Christians?
Well, nobody ever suggested you don't talk to any Christians. I'm not. I don't want to have that discussion now. But like, yeah, I know. That's not, talking to Skyout is like one of the most delightful experiences of my existence. I have to say that.
I love talking to the guy. It's fun for me, man.
Like, I mean,
I appreciate that, man. Like I said, hey, that in the beginning of the show, I said I pray for y'all. I'm only going to present my case. You can do what you want with it. Put it in the trash can, whatever. That's all. So I just
I mean,
yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna put it in the trash can. I'm gonna have some laughs and
Hey, next time you're praying to God for me, could you ask him to make my cock bigger?
That's childish. That's childish, John.
No, it's not.
You should act your age, really.
I am acting my age.
You got to be more sophisticated, man. You got to be more.
That is funny, and I know, like, we wanted to keep this somewhat short, so I am gonna wrap it up and put a bow on it soon. But I mean, that is kind of funny considering some of these email titles I've been getting from you.
Yeah,
that's the joke. Those are all jokes. I just do.
I know, but I'm just saying you're talking about John being childish and shit, and I mean,
yeah. And then you send an email that says "suck a dick" or whatever the fuck it was.
That's just getting your attention because I know that you're gonna click on
Oh, okay. Well, I was just trying to.
I mean, there's been better ones though. Like he, I mean, all of them are funny. He sent me like 6 or 7 of them now.
Look, Skyout. All I'm trying to say is if I wake up tomorrow with a 9-inch cock, I'll believe in your God.
Hey, if I wake up tomorrow not having a 9-inch cock, I won't believe in God. How about that? I don't know. So
all right, I got a perfect question to end all of this. Is every person that breaks the law and goes to prison an atheist?
No, I wouldn't say that at all.
All right. Now, you don't understand that question, but
I do. Let me just clarify that though. Just because you're a Christian doesn't make you above another human being. You're still a sinner. You're still wicked. You can still murder and kill people. Don't think that just because I'm a Christian, I'm no better than you. I'm wicked. I'm sinful. I broke the laws of God. I rebel against God. So,
was we reviewed a Brett Keane video earlier, and he literally made that claim.
Oh, okay.
So look, Skyout. Yeah, Knox says he wants to get out of here. So right now you have not just me and Knox, but in the live chat you have a few dozen atheists that are out there. Okay, you take 2 minutes now, and I'm literally saying take 2 minutes. Don't go on and on and on for like that. And convert everybody in the live chat right now. 2 minutes. Go.
All right, 2 minutes. Here we go. All right. Well, this is for everyone, especially for Leo Felix, because I wanted to say something to him too. The Bible is 99% accurate than all religions. That's why it's not Allah. That's why it's not Hindu. That's why it's not Buddha. Science has proved the God of the Bible. That's why we all know Jesus Christ is our creator and designer of this whole universe. Oh my God. When people say, what about other books about gods? Those books are not like the Bible, which is 99% accurate than all religions on this planet. Science has proved quantum physics, cosmology, theory of general relativity, and the Bible is accurate describing them in the universe. There is a God created the universe, all the laws of physics, chemistry, and oxygen. Science comes from a source. On the atheistic view, there is no source for science, physics, oxygen, morals. There's no ultimate reference for love or reference for hope after death. Atheists believe on faith in naturalism that it came from an accident or by random chance. So there's 2 views. First view is the universe came from a source, a creator and mind of God. Or atheists say the universe came from nothing, accident by chance. If you're rejecting God, are you rejecting God, or is it the absence of evidence, or is it the suppression of evidence? I'm done.
The very first part of that was the very first part of the email you sent me.
Yeah, I know. It's for them, man. It's for them, Rage.
And here's okay. What atheist ever claimed that the universe came from nothing?
Everyone, Richard Dawkins, Sam Harris, Steve. There's no God, so they'll tell you. No. They'll tell you that there's a naturalistic God.
No.
I think it was Lawrence Krauss is the one that said it. But he's like the only one I think that really says that.
But if you read his book, A Universe from Nothing, or whatever the exact title is, if I'm getting it wrong, that's not what the book is about. Okay, it's not literally saying that the universe came from nothing. read the book.
Oh yeah, I agree with what John is saying. I think it's a lot more complex than what Christians try to make it out to be. But
Right on.
you know that's beyond the point. This was fun, Skyout. We'll definitely do this again, and I'll definitely want to. We'll set that debate up between you and Leo. I would, I've had so many fun debates with you. I think that I should share the love, and share you out. So we definitely got to do that.
I wanted to come on your show before when you had an open chat. I was like a couple of days ago, right? You had a full panel and no one could talk. I was like, I'm not going to say 2 words and get cut off. And then you guys just say whatever over me. So I was like, I'm going to wait. Let's get it like a one-on-one, two, and then we can have a conversation. I enjoyed the Raging Atheist with this conversation with Dr. Josh. One of my favorite ones, man. One of my favorite ones. When you talk to Dr. Josh, you're like cool, you're cordial, you straight, you know what I mean? You good. So like that was one of my favorite ones.
Well, I think I was cool and cordial through most of the room that we had recently, and I don't think we were over talking everybody. I think people get over talked in big rooms, definitely.
Yeah.
But I think I definitely raged out at the end of that stream. I'm on a ton of medications. I went live and tried to explain it, making no justifications or excuses for my behavior. It was shitty behavior at the end of that stream, I was heavily medicated, and those things do tend to happen when you're a human being.
Yeah, I feel you, man. No doubt. Well, it's been fun, man. It's been fun with you guys. I'm gonna head on out.
I appreciate it, man. This was a good nightcap. I enjoyed the conversation. I really did. I can't wait to listen to it back. See all the. I'm going to try to wait because usually I want to listen to them back right afterwards, but I'm trying to wait now so I can actually read the side chat and see what people were saying.
Right. Yeah.
I get sucked into the conversation a lot, and I miss a lot of what's going on there. So
Scout's gonna make like a fetus and head out.
So I appreciate the conversation. It was fun.
All right, man. Y'all take it. Have a good night.
Yeah, right, have a good night as well.
Take care.
So yeah, John. I mean, any last thoughts on it? Ultimately, I expected him to come with some of those scientific arguments he was making in the email, and he came with something else. And essentially, it was, you smell and people have minds, therefore God. I'm a little surprised. Are you?
I mean, I'm not surprised because I didn't hear one new thing out of his mouth tonight. I've heard literally every word. You got some brain echo.
Yeah. Let me remove it. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's still. Okay.
I'm just getting my Patreon screen set up.
Everything he said tonight, he's literally said 100 times before, and it's so funny when you ask him a question, and then he just like grabs a segment of his script and he just ignores the question and starts talking about something completely different.
I thought that he weaseled his way out of a few of my questions tonight. I thought I was asking some pretty good questions. I thought you was asking some pretty good questions. I think that you were right. I mean, because we were going to try to let him get into his spiel, but like, you just can't let him get into it too much. You got to really kind of challenge as he's going along, because you're gonna miss points along the way if you don't do that.
Yeah, it's kind of like when we review a video and, hey, we got to let it play for a while. But then something gets said and we're like, no, stop right there. We got to comment on that. Like
with Brett Keane earlier today.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, interesting conversation. I mean, I always love it when we can get to the flood and we can try to, the Christian justifications are just so numerous now, because we talked about this so many times now. It's like, can't they see that they all have come to some fucked up justifications for this atrocity, and it's just better to call it allegory and be good with it? Like, it didn't really happen. It's just a story. It's supposed to mean shit.
Yeah. And then, but like guys like CJ, like when he was on MDD with Skylar that one time, he right out admitted it. Yeah, if God does it, it's fine.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Soldier for Christ guy that came on and said, if God said the sky was made of cheese, I'd believe the sky was made of cheese. And Matt Powell's most infamous term ever, the Bible says. You know, I mean, it's just like, oh gosh, can't you think that they'd be able to see it at this point? But we're the crazy ones, John. You know, we're the ones that don't believe. So I want to thank everybody for being here. John, thanks for hanging out. I know I'm actually going to be Zoomer. I'm going to bed, man. I'm going to lay down. I'm not actually going to go to bed. I'm going to sleep on the couch and I'm going to watch TV and go to sleep. My daughter's spending the night with her friends. I'm gonna go and get knocked out. Like I think I'm getting a cold or something. Man, my voice has been scratchy all day. I'm stuffed up. It's Michigan and its damn weather. Yeah. So, any parting words, John Peterson?
Well, I hope I wake up with a 9-inch cock tomorrow.
Classic John Peterson parting words. Thanks for being here, guys. I thought it was fun. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I find Skyout to be a riot. Love my patrons, so y'all have a good night. And as always, I have to send a big thank you to my patrons. My patrons have been there for me on the internet. And I've already got to change the Patreon screen, so yeah. Welcome to all the new patrons.
Remember everybody, it's not about politics. It's just a